And I think sometimes in life, we can eliminate ourselves out of the process and think it's all God. But it's like, no, it's a partnership. Like, apart from God and ourselves, nothing will get done.
Yeah.
So it's like we do the work based off of his leading, even his power dwelling in us. But he needs us. Like, he's not walking the earth. He's not speaking. He's working through us as vessels.
Real talk, real change. It's a brand new page.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Real Talk, Real Change podcast, where real conversations spark real transformation. And I am so excited to be here as your host. My name is Tonya, and I have with me this wonderful, amazing young lady who is not only my spiritual sister, but also a friend. And we have had some really deep conversations that I know is going to be really, really good. So you are definitely in for a treat. I would like to introduce to you Miss Tera Gaynor.
Hey, everybody. Yay. Oh, Tonya, I'm so honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And so what I'd like to ask you to do is, one, to introduce yourself, and then I just want you to share from your heart, your perspective, things in your life or situation or circumstance that might have caused you to want to give up, to quit, to feel like you were stuck, and, share with the people some things, some inspirational ideas that would help them see that their journey is not over, that all of this is really just a process.
Oh, wow. I mean, just that right there, woo, we can go so many places. And as you said, like, we talk and our conversations go so many different places. They go deep, but we always get what we need from each other when we have conversations. So I'm really excited about, the information that we're going to share and how it's going to be a blessing to your viewers. So I guess I'll just dive right in. So
Dive right in.
I am Tera. And as Tonya said, this is my sister. She's, oh God, she says, I'm awesome. This lady right here is, you're everything. Like, you're really amazing. Like, your heart, oh God, your perspective on life. I think at times you can be hard on yourself, but even in that, I realize it's because you only want to be the best and you want to produce the best. But you're just a gift to so many people in so many ways. Like, you are anointed, and I just need you to know that. Like, you are amazing, and I'm so proud of you because I've had insight on seeing this process of her developing this podcast. So to be here and sitting in this moment, like, you manifested this.
Oh,
Tonya.
God. Like, really? Yeah.
Okay, so she just said it's all God, and I get it. I just was thinking about this morning, how I've heard so many people say, and I've even said it at times, how, oh, it's all God. And I understand why we say that, especially as Christians. It's like, we know we wouldn't be who we are without God, but God is not in the earth walking around doing the work to manifest what we produce. And so sometimes we can take ourselves out of the process, but no, I need you to like pat yourself on the back because she's partnered with God to hear from him, to allow him to guide you and lead you so you can do your part to manifest this. And so that's huge, like that's important. And I think sometimes in life, we can eliminate ourselves out of the process and think it's all God. But it's like, no, it's a partnership. Like, apart from God and ourselves, nothing will get done.
Yeah.
So it's like we do the work based off of his leading, even his power dwelling in us. But he needs us. Like, he's not walking the earth. He's not speaking. He's working through us as vessels. And so that's even, listen.
That's a word. That is a word.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
But I guess I need to
Yeah.
get back on topic because your question to me, oh, I didn't explain anything or share anything
Tell
about
about
myself.
you. Yes.
Oh, I don't know where to begin. So I don't know. I'm a lover girl. I'm a lover of life. I love Jesus. I've had to learn to love myself and see myself the way God has created me. And so out of that, I am a natural like optimist. I see the best in people and situations, but life lately has shown me there's a place for being real. So I'm also a realist about like, this is what it is, this is what I see, but within that, like, how can I pull the good or how can I apply even God's principles to not quit and give up, but to really continue to walk towards what I want to see. I do multiple things. So for years, I was a teacher and a coach. Now I work in ministry full time. I've started a few businesses. That has been a whole process. So I do some personal training and I do property management. I rent out, rooms in a property, and the goal is to grow that and develop that. But I do multiple things. But I will say I'm a lover of life. I enjoy living life to the fullest and being present in situations. So
That's
yeah.
good. Were you always that way?
No, because I'm naturally an introvert. Like, I could just be to myself and be good. At least in my mind, I think I'm good. But the pandemic and growing and maturing in the things that God has shown me, like, Tera, you're not an island. There is a place for you connecting to people and building like relationships that really matter of substance and doing the work to keep those relationships healthy. So that causes me to get outside of myself. It's like I can't just stay in Tera's bubble and just be there. Like I have to really extend myself and serve the way I know I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
So to your point or to your question, no, I have not always been like that.
Yeah. When you told me you was an introvert, I didn't believe you at first.
Oh,
Really?
yeah.
Seeing you the way I do and seeing you actively working and how you get along with people and have conversations and things like that, I was rather surprised to find out that you were an introvert.
So knowing me how you know me, would you agree that I am an introvert? Or
You're definitely an introvert.
I'm an introvert. God is so funny. It's like you've called me to, like, the assignment on my life and the calling of God on my life causes me to be extroverted. Like I have to build relationships. I have to get outside myself. I have to serve. But I'm like, God, but who I am at my core is so opposite of that. And I just think that speaks to like God's diversity and just how he does things.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah. We were just talking about that before we came on about how God does that. And so when you find yourself wanting to be introverted, but you're in an environment that requires you to be extroverted, what do? How do you make the adjustment?
I pray, because in moment I still get so nervous. Like I said, I was a teacher, but I would get nervous teaching my students. It's like, wait, what? But I think just in the natural, I feel the butterflies, my voice gets a little shaky. And so through or over time, I've had to learn to not give in to those feelings and allow them to like run me away from what I know I need to do. So now I literally within myself, I take a deep breath and I'm just like, God, I'm relying on you. And here we go. Let's go. And he's shown up every single time. Like when I take the focus off of me and maybe the attention and the eyes and all of that, and I say, okay, Lord, there's someone here who needs what's gonna come through my mouth, or if there's something I'm supposed to do and it's gonna be a blessing to others, it takes me out of it and I typically will just flow. It makes it easy at that point. But when I put all the focus on me, how I feel, how I think it should be, like all of those things, like it almost makes that anxious feeling worse. So I've just learned over time, even with my knees shaking, it's like, pray, Holy Spirit's in you, trust him, and just go. Take the one step and then the next step. And so that's always worked out when I look at it that way.
That's really good. So in that, do you find it difficult to take that time? Like, oftentimes we're just in the moment. And so to take that time, is it really long, or is it like, okay, Tera, you got to do this. Let's make it happen.
That's a great question, actually. Early on in this, I would take a lot of time. Like, it would take me longer because it's like I'm convincing myself. But I've learned the longer that I take, I'm going to think myself out of it. I'm going to talk myself out of it. It's like it just gives me more time to give in to what the enemy is telling me. So Tera, today, it's quick. It's like, and literally it may not even be something that comes out of my mouth, but on the inside, it's like I'm having a conversation. It's like a knowing with myself where I'm just like, okay, God, I trust you. I know you called me to this. Let's go. And so today, but it's been years of learning myself and being honest about what I'm feeling, how to overcome it, trust God, fail, win. It's just been those experiences over time that teaches you what works. And then you just go with what works. And to me, it's gotten easier over time.
Gotcha. And I think that's something that a lot of people fail to realize is that it's not a quick overnight process.
Listen, I wish it was.
The us we see now was years in the making.
Absolutely.
To get to this point.
It's maturing. It's a growing up. It's a process. Like, and even though you've been in something a long time, sometimes you have setbacks because different situations are presented, or you can think, I'm strong at this, but then something else is thrown at you and you realize, maybe I'm not as solid in this as I thought I was. And so that's also something I've had to learn over time. I beat myself up a lot less now than I used to. I think most of us probably, we're our worst critics.
Absolutely.
And it's like, we can pick ourselves apart, or we can stay stuck in a situation so much longer than we should because we're in our own head and trying to make everything make sense. But I got tired of getting stuck. Because to me, it's so much work now working myself back out of these deep holes I've dug at times.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, the work still, especially being in full-time ministry, it's so much work that has to be done. I can't take the time or give energy to what's negative to keep me in a place. I'm like, I refuse to do that to myself.
Yeah.
And so I even stay in stuff a lot less, now than I had previously.
And I think that's a word pretty much for anybody. I know it is for me. Because even when I was in the workforce full time, it was something I had to work on and work towards, is to get myself to a place where it's, okay, work was work. When I'm done, and not stay in that place. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, when you get in them challenging situations and circumstances, to be able to say the things that are necessary. And it's basically just like the word tells us, to bring those thoughts into captivity, because when you don't, you leave room for the enemy to come in and wreak havoc.
Yes. And the enemy speaks to all of us.
All of us.
But God also speaks to all of us. And so it literally takes making an intentional decision. It's like when you hear the negativity. Actually, our pastor said this on Sunday, how, sometimes we go back and forth, like, is this God? Is this me? Is this the enemy? It's so important that we're in the Word so that we know the character of God, because as you're hearing these voices, that will help you to identify, like, is this the enemy?
For sure.
And it's like, if it's contrary to what we know the Word says, you know that it's the enemy. So it's like, we gotta cast those thoughts down, because if you give room to it, it's like a snowball.
Yeah.
That thing, or the voices are gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then that is what you're focused on, is what you're not capable of, how this whatever is gonna fail, or how you're not qualified. And then the comparison, you looking at everybody else and what I have just learned, like, Satan, get back up off of me.
Right.
Like, literally, I refuse to allow the enemy to back me in a wall. Today, this is Tera today, you know, and of course I still have moments, but it's like, I know who I am and I know who God is.
Yeah.
And nothing, no situation, no person can ever back me into a wall where I'm hopeless and I feel like God can't, whether it's a redirecting me or pulling me out of a situation, bringing help. Like he has made a way of escape for each and every one of us, no matter what the situation is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when
That's
you
a good
know
word.
that, it's like I don't know, it's a level of confidence that comes with that. It's like not a cockiness, but it's just a confidence. Like, I know who my God is and who I am in him. And it doesn't mean I'm perfect, because I'm far from perfect, but I serve such a perfect, loving God that he will not let me, like, he won't let me fall, but his name is on the line. Because I'm telling people about him, like, this is what God said. Like, this is what he's led me to. And so if I fall, if you fall, God's name is on the line. And I just haven't seen where, you know, he will allow who he is to be, you know, looked at in a negative way. But it's even deeper than that. It's like, I'm his child.
I think that's so vitally important what you just said, is that God's name is on the line. So we have to think about our response to situations and circumstances.
That's good. Because to your point, God is going to do his part, but how are we representing who he is? So how you respond, and sometimes maybe nobody else will see it, but even within yourself, getting to a point where you as an individual and in your relationship with God, you're not allowing his name to be looked at in a negative light for you. And I think as you train yourself in that, then it'll just expand, and then others will be able to see it, and you can walk in that confidence with other people. But a lot of times, like, the enemy beats us up when we're in a room by ourselves or before bed, or, you know, it's in those intimate moments of just us and God, or us and the enemy, you know, and then he attacks. So it's like, if you can really get that and understand that for yourself, then I think just that overflow, then other people will eventually be able to see God operating in your life in those ways, or in challenging situations.
Yeah. That's really good. So what advice could you share with somebody who may not necessarily be mature in the word, who is in a situation where they are feeling beat up, they're feeling down, they're feeling depressed? Not necessarily that we can give them the whole answer, but just a great starting point to help them be able to practice on a regular basis.
Man, let me just say, I have been there where I have felt the heaviness of sadness and depression. I've been there where I felt like I've made such bad decisions that I could not come back from. And for me, I did some key things. One, I had to get to a point where I hated how I felt. For me, like, I hate feeling like this, which led me to do something different. Because sometimes you can be in a situation that doesn't feel good and it's challenging, but it's almost like you just stay in that space.
Yeah.
But when you're really tired and you don't like your life, or you don't like yourself, or you just don't like the situation you're in, you're going to do something different. And so I had to get tired of being tired, of being tired, of being tired. And so out of that, then I started doing something different. So for me, what I did, one, I started spending time in the Word. Like, and it was like God was like nudging me. It's almost like he's like, hey, I'm right here. I just want to show you. Let me show you who you are. And so I would spend time in the Word. I can remember I was a student at the time. So like, even in between classes, I had a devotional that I purchased. I would be reading my devotional, and what I read in the devotional, I was intentional about applying it. Like, I would find a situation where it's like, oh, okay, this is what I just read. Now let me act on this. So reading the Word, getting that in your heart, because eventually that seed you're putting in you, eventually that seed is going to grow up. It's going to take root, and it's going to come alive in you.
Yeah.
And then being intentional about acting on it. And then because I let certain negative things go, like drinking and smoking and the sex and all of that, I had to then fill that void with something. So I started working out. going to the gym so that I could physically feel good about myself. I started eating better. I went vegan for like 8 months, and then I went vegetarian for years, and now I eat meat. But you know, at that time, that was what I needed to help me on that journey of becoming a healthier Tera. Affirmations. I literally wrote on paper positive things about myself. I put them on my mirrors. I even put them in my ceiling because I dealt with like lust and some things. And so when I went to bed, these feelings would come. So when I would look up in my ceiling, I would see an affirmation that says, your body belongs to the Lord. Honor God
That's
with.
good.
So everywhere in my home, when I flipped on a light switch, I saw an affirmation about I'm the light of the world. Like I just got creative and just wrote affirmations. And then I will also take time and actually speak them out. But that really helped me to see myself in a positive way, surrounding myself with positive people. And that included family. Like I had to go through a season where I had to have hard conversations with people. I remember it to this day. And God gave me specific people to like reach out to, and I did. And I shared with them, hey, this is the journey that I'm now on. And because of this, I'm going in this direction. And I just want to let you know, because it's not that I don't love you anymore, but I just know, like, I believe I'm going into like isolation. And so you may not hear from me as much. I may not text you back, you know, right away, but I just need you to know it's no love lost. This is just where I am. Most people were like, girl, we proud of you. Some people didn't get it, and that was okay. But I knew for myself that was something I had to do so that I could make room for the right people who could help me on this new journey that, you know, I started. So hopefully that helped. But
that's good.
it's very practical stuff.
It is just very, very practical. Nothing complicated about it. Very simple. Just taking baby steps to get to where you want to be.
Absolutely.
And look at where she is now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm in a much better place.
Yeah.
I look back over my life and I'm like, God, I just thank you that you've helped me to get where I am. But then when I look to the future, it's still so much more that, you know, I want to accomplish, even who I want to be. Because in order for us to really walk in these dreams that we have to be better people.
I have to be.
Like what's in you. And so I'm in a season now where God is just revealing my heart to me. Like, and there are some things that are in me that it's like, yeah, you got to work on that and get that out of you, because where you want to go, you're not going to be able to sustain that with the version of who you are now. And so we're going to be forever evolving and growing. That should be the goal.
Yeah.
So
it should always be the goal, to be better.
And give yourself grace.
Oh,
give yourself.
That's a good one. I needed that one.
Yes.
Yes.
Give
yourself some grace.
Grace. I mean, I feel like in relationship with people, we're so much more kind and helpful with other people and helping them on their journey. Yeah, we're not as kind and giving ourselves space to grow. And that's so necessary. Like I just think about my journey. It's like, well, me being hard on myself, is that helping to get me where I need to be? And that's being honest with yourself. Everybody's different. But for me, it didn't help me to beat myself up and always remind myself of how I missed it and what I didn't do. But it was, okay, Tera, your intentions were right. You just missed it. But learn from it. Like, what didn't you do that you can move forward and apply to help you to be better? So it's giving yourself that. That's another way that we love on ourselves, is allowing space for ourselves to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And definitely not beating ourselves up. I think I struggled with that my own self, and just being so hard on myself. And I think one of the biggest things, and I always preach this anywhere I go, this is just a part of my testimony, is the importance of accountability.
Yes.
Accountability is so liberating. It really, really is.
But did it feel good all the time?
No, it didn't. But when I truly understood what accountability really was, and the biblical inspiration I got from it, man.
You could deal with whatever came with it. So can you share, because maybe some people watching may not fully understand, like, what would you define accountability as, like, even for you?
Yeah. So in a previous episode that I did, I talked about accountability. And for me, the way I understand it and the way I explain it to people is that when we are children, we are often taught that everything we do is either right or wrong. You know, don't touch the stove, that's not right. Do this and that's right. Go to school, make good grades, that's right. And so we get into this posture of everything is either right or wrong. So you judge yourself based on that. And accountability has nothing to do with right or wrong.
Okay.
Absolutely nothing. Accountability just says, I take full responsibility for the choices that I made. That's all.
Okay.
I take full responsibility for this choice, for that choice, for that choice, whatever it is. And I have previously encouraged the listeners to take some time to sit with themselves and do self-introspection and just really begin to address the choices that they've made.
Absolutely.
It could be credit, it could be a relationship, it could be a job, it could be theft, it could be sex. I mean, it could be anything. It's not about the outcome that happened from it. It's just solely based on you taking full responsibility for that choice. And it literally delivered me.
Absolutely. And you saying that, that's where all growth even starts. You have to start with, this was my part in this situation. Even with our lives, like, you have to acknowledge my life is where it is because of what I have chosen to do. So when you start with that, and then you take the introspect, and maybe you get knowledge, then it can help you move forward.
Absolutely.
That is so good, Tonya.
Yeah. That helps to take away blaming anybody else.
Right.
You don't
because
have
when
to.
you blame people, that's gonna keep you stuck.
It does.
Because how do you move out of a situation that you don't like if you're always pointing a finger at somebody else?
Absolutely.
Oh God, that is
my hair standing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. When I learned that one principle, it just literally opened my eyes up to see so much more, to be able to receive so much more of God. And that way, even now, when I make mistakes, it's easy for me to say, I give you a simple. So I learned how to drive in New York.
Okay.
So I can be a rather aggressive driver. So now, in my taking responsibility, I very easily look at the mistakes that people make when they're driving, which would normally cause me to go into this rant. And now I'm like, well, Tonya, you've done that before. You know, it's just saying, you know what? I give that person grace because I don't know what they're doing, but I'm sure I've made that mistake before. You know, and it's just little things like that that's just like, man, I didn't have to sweat. I didn't have to get upset and be exhausted by the time I get where I'm going because I'm all bent out of shape.
Right.
And I can drive now like, okay.
Nothing bothers you on the road.
Not always, but most times. Most times.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah,
That's
I mean,
so
it
good.
really, really makes a huge difference.
And as you were speaking and even just sharing like that scenario, I think when you take accountability, you really see yourself, which humbles you because you see yourself like, oh, wow. So for me, it shows me, yeah, I need Holy Spirit. I need God in my life, and I need the word to help me to be a better person. Like when you're really accountable and you see some things in you, like for me, it showed me, oh, I don't want to be like this.
Yes.
And so that helped me to get on the track of growing in this area.
Yeah.
And it brought about an empathy or compassion for others.
Absolutely.
Which today, y'all, when I say I know God has done a work in my heart, because I was a person, people who knew me like growing up, young adulthood, like I was a fighter. I was slick at the mouth. Like I didn't really care about hurting people's feelings. Like that was the first thing from my mind. When I think about the Tera today, sometimes I be feeling like, girl, why you this soft? Like, how do you care this much about people? Like, but to me, I truly have the Spirit of God pertaining to his creation. His most prized possession is people, is souls. And that doesn't mean that you just let them treat you any kind of way or get away with stuff. But even in that, when I've had to correct or get on, I was a teacher, so I work with young kids. Even in my having to correct them and get on them, I did it in such love because my heart would only let me, go so far. And I'm just like, Lord, you have changed me. So that empathy and compassion is so important because I think it really opens the door for vulnerability, which is so freeing.
Yes.
With yourself and with others, giving others space to just be honest without judgment.
Yeah.
Because the Bible says, there's a scripture that talks about you overcome by the blood of the lamb and the word of your testimony. So it allows space for people to share so they can get free and overcome, and you can pray together. And so that's important as well.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And I think all the things that you said are just so vitally important. And I think it helps us to be able to sit back and look at situations and circumstances from a different vantage point. And when we can do that, then we'll get to see, wow, well, my way was not the only way that this situation could be resolved.
absolutely.
It's always more than one way. God's way, of course, being the best way.
The best.
The absolute best. Yeah. And, doing it from a heart posture where you want to please him. But yeah, when we can see things, because I know for me, years ago, and especially in certain relationships, you get into this situation where you're bickering back and forth. It's like, I want my point to be heard, and that person wants their point to be heard, and those were the only 2 points that mattered. And when you have God in the midst of that, and you're like, whatever this situation is, at the end of the day, I want to please him, and so I yield myself to be open to how he leads me to handle this situation.
That's so good.
And that's huge.
But wouldn't you say that takes a level of like maturity and growing up?
Absolutely.
Because sometimes I think we're just really immature, whether it's in our emotions, which then affects how we process information, how we hear information, then we respond out of that.
Yeah.
Like, we just have to be honest with
grow
ourselves.
into it.
Yeah.
And start small.
So like what would be an example? What's a situation where you would say it's something small?
Well, I would say it's small, but it's
Important.
important to me.
Right.
It's important to me. So I am huge on customer service.
Okay.
That
Which every Christian should be.
we should, because we should always come from a perspective of servanthood.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so it can be challenging to encounter somebody who is like, yeah, and okay, what else you want? Or, And so to do that self-talk in the moment so that I can say, instead of me getting upset in this situation, what can I say to this person to potentially be a light to them and help them realize, oh, this moment is not so heavy.
Right.
And one particular And I always laugh about this, but one particular situation, I was in a drive-through and I had a friend of mine in the car with me, and the guy talking through the speaker was just really, you could just kind of hear like the aggravation in his voice, like when he was trying to take my order and everything. And so I'm thinking to myself after I place the order, like, how am I going to make light of this situation when I get to this window so I don't pick up that same attitude and we go back and forth? So when I drove up to the window, I looked at him and I said, who did it? I want to know who it was that messed up your day. Who was it? Tell me who it was. And he looked at me at first and he had no choice but to bust out laughing. And he was like, oh man, it was like that. I was like, yeah, it was like that. Like you really came off like that.
But I love your response too, because what I sensed in that, or if I would have heard you say that, it's like, I got you. Like, tell me who did it, because I got, so it just lightened the whole situation.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it works. But when we come back other ways, it just add fuel to the fire. And instead of doing that, you could be the very person that just changed the whole trajectory of their day.
Absolutely, because I have been that person that added fuel to the fire.
Me
and was
too.
like, you can get it.
Me too.
But eventually, you just get to a place where it's like, I'm tired of responding this way because the outcome is not what I want.
Right.
And it's almost like you just keep running into this wall over and over. And you get so beat up. And so actually, I don't know if I should share this story, but that literally happened to me. I remember the last physical fight I got into. I'm in college. Why am I fighting? But I was a fighter. But I remember going home and this girl had words with my sister, and I'm a protector. And so I just responded, and me and her ended up fighting. And when I tell you I was so beat up coming out of that, and I'm a college athlete, I could not go back to school and practice or play because both of my shoulders got dislocated. I was throwing so hard, I threw my shoulders out of sight. My knees were all skint up. And I remember Holy Spirit ministering to me through that situation. This is when he began to start working on me.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, it's your responses. You're so quick-tempered, and look what it's led to. You didn't go into it thinking you would come out beat up like this, but because you didn't respond well, look at the outcome. So who was hurt in the whole situation? You thought you was gonna hurt somebody else, and you got hurt.
Right.
And I was like, I'm done.
Right.
I will never go through this again. And that started me on that journey of really giving God my heart and Lord, show me what's in me that is not of you, because I don't like this and I don't want to be this person. But I was like, that was a crazy experience.
Yeah.
Then I had to explain to my coach. She what happened? I had to explain. I got in a fight. What? It was crazy, but.
That sounds crazy. I can't even picture it.
I know, but that is a testament to what God can do when we partner with Him. Because I would have stayed on that track of being that person if I wouldn't have paused and been intentional about growing. It's sometimes we can put so much off on God, it's all Him, which is how we even started this conversation. I had to commend you because it's yes, you're going to give God all the glory, but He's not forcing us to do anything. Right. He has to have our yes. He has to have our participation. Yeah. So,
But I think as Christians, from my perspective, I feel like we think that's humility.
I agree. And it sounds good. It sounds spiritual and
holy.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
But and so that's what it is. But in all honesty, it really is God. And even when I don't want to or I don't feel like it, and we did talk about feelings a lot earlier, I have chosen to submit to what God has called me to do. And it's not how I feel about it. It has nothing to do with how I feel about it.
Agreed. And that's a word for somebody. I think many of us, especially as Christians, sometimes we can think we come into this relationship with Christ through his word and by his spirit, and we think that we're not going to experience challenges. We think that, everything from that point is just going to flow and be this great, grand experience. And so then we get thrown off because we're met with a challenge, or you're met with those feelings that's like, what? Why do I feel like this?
Right.
But it's like, no, we have to be prepared and know things are going to come.
Oh, yeah.
But the word says, be of good cheer.
Yeah.
Because I have overcome all of these things. So you have the victory in it. But we also only have the victory if we believe it and we act on what we believe.
Act on it. That's right.
Because you won't see the victory if you quit, you stop, you give up in it.
Yeah.
And you're still victorious like God sees us as victorious, but what will we experience?
Yeah.
And so we can't be Christians who are moved by how we feel. Because if we honest and we really know ourselves, man, our feelings be up,
they will
down,
lead you astray.
Sideways. And it's like, imagine a life led by feelings, how up and down and
exhausting.
So no, I'm not led by my feelings.
Yeah.
I tell my feelings what we gonna do.
Yeah.
And that sounds good. You don't always, it's a process of developing that, but for the most part, like, it's like, no. We have to tell our feelings like what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I'm just so proud of you, because I know you felt a lot of ways about this podcast, but here we are.
But here we are. Yes.
Yeah.
And so, man, this has truly been absolutely amazing. I know there is no way possible you could have listened to this entire podcast and not get nuggets. I mean, enough to go back and make sure that you got them all, because there were plenty. And especially for those of you who are feeling stuck, who can't see your way through, who think you are the only one. Look, you are not by yourself. Even the word tells us there's nothing new under the sun.
Absolutely.
There's nothing new. So you're feeling depressed, talk to those feelings. You don't have to succumb to them. Now, I'm not saying that those of you who need additional assistance don't get it. I'm not telling you that. I'm just saying actively do your part.
That's good.
In helping to heal yourself, because you have a responsibility. And we learned something else. You owe yourself.
Yes.
The best version
of yourself.
Yourself. You owe yourself the best version of yourself.
I heard this last night. You just saying that made me think of this, because I watch many podcasts, and I heard a young lady share this on a podcast last night. It was about dating, and she didn't date seriously until she was 54, which is when she met her husband and married him at 54. And so she said what helped her get through that process of being 21 to 54, that's a long time. Can you imagine what she may have gone through mentally, thinking she's probably not enough because she hadn't met the one? But she said, what helped me get through it? I made up in my mind that it would be great to meet my person and do life with them, but that's only for a season, whether it's 10, 15, 20, 30 years. She said, but I'm doing life with me for all of my life. Yeah. So I had to get to a place where I loved me more than I loved being with somebody else. And you just saying that made me think of that. Like, we all have to get to that place where within ourselves, we genuinely love who we are. That may not mean you like everything about yourself, but you love yourself, meaning I can deal with the dislikes and work on them, but like, I know my worth and my value.
Wow.
And because I'm gonna be doing life with me, as long as I'm in this earth, I'm gonna take the best care of me, my heart, my mind, my soul, my physical body. And it hit me in a way. I was like, that's so good. And it's true.
It is. It's so
like
true.
Me, I'm doing life with me forever. Yeah. So Yeah.
Man, that's so good. And remember, the you are, you take with you into those relationships.
Yeah. So it's
Don't you
beneficial.
want to be the better version of yourself?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
That's another way I had to tell the enemy, back up off me, because it's like, I'm 36, you know, I know there's somebody out there, but it's like, I haven't met them. So the enemy will
Yeah.
make you think. I said, listen, I am doing the work, so I'm going to be a better wife than I
Right.
would have been at 20, 25, or 30. I'm going to be a better mother. The conversations me and my mom have now about parenting and what I'm learning through conversation with her, I'm like, I'm going to be such a great mom because I'm learning from mistakes of people before me. So I
Yeah.
have to let the enemy know, like, my husband and my children are only going to benefit from me
Right.
being
From
who
the
I
work you put
am
in.
when they manifest,
Yep.
because we're doing the work to be
Yeah.
better. So
Yeah.
I'm like, enemy, get
Ooh.
off me, man. Just back up.
Yeah.
You ain't running nothing
Yeah.
over here.
Pack your bags. Did we
Get
hear
out.
that?
Yeah.
Get out.
That was a word on Sunday.
Yes.
Pack your
Pack
bags
your bags
and get
out.
out. And that starts here in our soul.
Yeah, right
Yeah.
there. Oh my goodness. I told y'all, amazing. Every time we have these conversations, whew,
We leave better,
we wouldn't even, yes.
stronger, encouraged.
Always, always, always. So, so good. So it is my heart's desire that you got what you needed today. And look, don't keep it to yourself, because there's somebody else that needed this episode. So I want to thank my friend, my sister, Tera. Woo, woo.
I love
Thank you
you.
so much for
I love
coming
you.
on. This
Thank
was
you for
amazing.
having me.
And we started even before we cut the camera on. So
We two talking ladies now.
yes, we can go on and on. But thank you again so very much for joining us. We certainly look forward to you coming back again. Bye. Thank you for tuning into the Real Talk, Real Change podcast, where real conversations spark real transformation. If something that was said today inspired you, encouraged you, or caused you to think a little deeper, then I'd like to ask you to do 3 things. One is to follow or subscribe so that you never miss an episode. 2 is that you leave a review so that others can find the show. And 3 is that you share this with someone who needs a little hope. Don't forget to download your free 10-day devotional entitled From Caterpillar to Butterfly at www.realtalkrealchangepodcast.com. Until next time, keep growing, keep healing, and remember, real talk sparks real change.
Real talk.